I'm gonna be doing the valve cover replacement and valve lash adjustment. Now this will be similar to all Odyssey motors, all Acura MDX, the TL. Um, Obviously this is the RL that I'm working on. This is a 2005. What else? Anything with the J series, it's a J35 or 3.5 or 3.2 liter. They're all the same, pretty much the same. Same setup. So I know for the older ones, the intake will be higher, so you can actually sneak out the valve cover without taking off the intake. If I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong. Comment down below on that part. Um, but yeah, it's a pretty simple job. You can save. This could save you up to $1,000. So I attempt it myself and all that stuff. So just to help you guys on this. So yeah. But if you already have it, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you have any questions on this job. Just let me know on that part, and then hit that subscribe button for more upcoming videos. And we're gonna go ahead and start this video right after the intro. Alright, so first thing what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to go ahead and take out the engine cover. Now there's going to be these two plastic clips. Now on some other ones they're going to be different, but it's going to be the same thing. Just turn those clockwise. Alright, so basically we're going to be taking off this 10mm, because obviously we got to get out the boot. We need to take off this guy, so just unplug that guy, move that from there. We're going to go ahead and plug this one. And then there's two 10mm bolts right here, so there's one up top and then one on bottom. Just unbolt that from this whole assembly. You can leave on the connector. We might have to take it off just in case. Then from right here, basically just kind of squeeze this with your hand and then just pull this back as much as you can. If it's kind of stuck in there, just spray a little WD-40 in there just to break it free. Not a lot, just like a quick spray, just so you can get this moist and it could break free from here. Then we're gonna go ahead and disconnect this hose once we get this guy unbolted. We're gonna take off the brake booster hose, and then we'll take off this vacuum hose right there. And then pretty much we're gonna unclip this guy. We'll take that guy off. And then we're going to go ahead and take off all these 10mm that are right up here. And then we should have access to the main bolts that hold in the intake manifold in place. If you're having a hard time taking this off, you're going to have to take off the intake box. Now the intake box is a little bit pain in the butt. Well, just trying to take off the boot itself because it's so hard in general. So I mean, you're only going to be your downside to that. But other than that, yeah. And I think once we get that unbolted, I'm gonna unbolt the throttle body. Those are going to be 12mm. So there's going to be 4. There's going to be 2 up on top and then 2 on the bottom, just so we didn't mess with the coolant lines and we don't put no air in the system and make the job a little bit more difficult than what it is. Alright, so we're going to have to take off the air filter box without trying to destroy this guy. And then also it'll make it a lot more easier. So, now normally there's going to be 4 screws. So there's going to be 1 right there. And then 1 right here. For this, you're just going to have to pull it back. It would be sit right there. That was already pulled back. Then you got, there's the second screw, and the third screw's right there, and then the fourth screw's right there. And then you can use either a Phillips screwdriver or an 8mm to take that off. So this is probably going to be the most difficult thing in my opinion to take off. It's just a little bit stubborn. So I believe you got to pull it off from the throttle body first, and then get this guy off so it could come out pretty easy. Yeah, I mean, it should come off pretty easy after that. Just as you saw how I pulled it out. Just be careful with that. Once this guy comes out, that your hand doesn't slip off. Literally, is like the most pain in the butt thing on the J series. Is like the most part that I hate about these guys. Is just taking off the intake boot without trying to rip it. Now just be careful that you don't damage this guy. Usually this guy sits on the manifold for the other models, but this one is coming up with the upper plate. So just go ahead and inspect it. If you have too much carbon buildup right here, these guys tend to have way too much carbon buildup. So you can just clean that out with some brake cleaner or a little like a brush, like the plastic brush, and then you'll just go ahead and just brush it first, and then go ahead and wipe it over with the brake cleaner. So next we're gonna be taking off the intake. So you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, 12mm. Don't worry about these 3 10s. You're just only taking off just the 12s. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and take off our front valve cover. Now normally for the other ones they would have like, I think it's a Allen's number 6, so it would be like a hex 6. These are 10mm, so we got to take these guys off, and then we could be able to pull this right out. Before we do that, normally for the other ones it would have the reservoir right here. For just this guy, that would be in the way, so you need to take out the reservoir. On the other ones would have like a 10mm holding down the reservoir. For this one, I have to take off the whole front plastic because this guy will be hitting. So just get a flat head right here, pry that out, pry that one out, and that one. And then obviously, since we already have the plastic removed from this side, we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, I think that should be it. If this is in the way, just kind of lift this guy up and push it back. And then right here, you're just gonna lift this guy up just a little bit, just so we can pop this out of place. Now I'm just gonna pull this out the way. This one just needs to go up. Alright, so we're gonna kind of walk over this this particular valve cover. Now basically we're gonna be taking off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or don't worry about this one. We'll just pop these out just like this. These little tabs right there. The same thing as this one. You'll just pop that guy right out. We'll take off this one right here, that one, and there should be one more right there. I believe that's it. Yeah, that should be it for right there. I took off this 10 just to make this more easier to move around. for this one, you're pretty much going to kind of do the same thing too. Or, yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, you'll be just fine just like that. So yeah, we'll just move this aside. Now some are going to be longer than the others. Obviously the one that inserts, the ones that go down, obviously you're going to have space. So the two small ones are going to be up on top, and then the longer ones are going to be up on bottom. Alright, so we're going to get a flathead screwdriver and then just pick between the valve cover and then the cylinder head. So just like that. And then basically some of them are pretty stuck on there pretty hard. This one's actually going to come out pretty easy. So what I like to do is just put something that can actually go in there and just spin it out like that. You don't want to damage this, so just so we get that clear, and then the rest should just come off pretty easy. And then obviously don't forget to take out your dipstick. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and remove the rear valve cover while we're at it. So we'll go ahead and pull this little tube right back. Just don't forget to put it back in its place. We'll move that to the side, and then we're going to clip this right here and then pull back that hose. Then we're going to have one 10mm that's holding in this hole. I think there's 3 in total. So I think there's one right there. There's a second one right there. And then the third one. Oh, it's just going to be 2 10mm. The third one was for this little bracket for that holds in this hose. I would take that off so it makes it easier to remove. So we'll take that off, and then obviously we'll take off the ignition coils. 10mm, same thing, and it's pretty much the same bolt pattern as the other guy. And yeah, I mean that's it. And then for right here, just to give you a little bit more room, basically we would just pull this wire right here, the one that's sitting on the valve cover. We just need to pull that back so we can get this guy up in the air so we can have more clearance on that. So right here on this wire loom, it's kind of really hard to see, but right there, this little plastic, it'll have a clip. It's kind of hard to see, but it'll be like a clip like this. So just like this guy, and then you'll just kind of pull this back right here, and then you'll be able to pull back, and then you'll have some clearance just to lift this guy up, and then you can see the more room you'll have. And then we can sneak that out. If you need to, just put like a zip tie right here and then get that going. Just like that, we'll have that big gap. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and switch up the tube seal or not the tube seal, the bolt grommets. So basically, you can get some like pliers and then squeeze right here. And then if you can with your nail, you can kind of pick at that right there. Make sure you haven't fully bit it. And then what you want to do is kind of want to separate that. Let's see if we can get that to break loose. If it doesn't come loose like that, then you can just kind of pinch it, twist it around, break it free by going back and forth. And there we have it. We'll just pinch it. Oh, there it goes. Now it wants to separate. Great. So you can just pull it like that.
and then you'll just cut right through here, just like that, so you can open up the gap, and they'll slide out. Now for the install, what you want to go ahead and do is you want to go ahead and lubricate this with oil. So make sure that this bottom piece is lubricated with oil. And then you're just going to spin it right in, just like that. So make sure nothing got damaged, but that's why you want to make sure that these are lubricated so they can go to the install. So you're going to go ahead and repeat that process for the other ones, and then we'll go ahead and get back to the valve cover. All right, so now we have our grommets, and then basically we just need to remove them. So you can get a flathead screwdriver, and you want to be picking not at the lip, but at the bottom of the seal right here. So that's where we want to pick up. So you kind of want to make sure it goes in, and then I like to grab the valve cover as much as I can. And then you would repeat that for all the other ones. We're going to be putting in the valve covers. We're going to do the valve covers and the valve cover grommets, but I'm going to do this all at one sitting. So pretty much you want to clean this area. I have brake cleaner on the rag itself, and we just want to get this nice and clean. Now the reason why we're doing this is just so it runs it dry, and so you don't have a chance of the valve cover gasket slipping right off fairly easy. Well, easier than what it should, but this will just make it stick hard, more easier. And then right here, these guys are kind of broken. I don't know what the heck happened, but just so you see, they kind of melted off. Don't want you guys to think it's me. Be like, oh, this guy broke it. Whoops. So now when we're inserting these guys, now this part with the indentation needs to sit flat. So the guy with the groove, because obviously the tube seal is going to slide right through here, and you need to make sure it seals up. So we're going to go ahead and just put this right in there. Now you can actually push these in by hand. Make sure like one side's kind of seated in just like that, and then you can just push it right in there. Now that's only if it's lubricated. If it's not lubricated, then obviously that's a different story. So that's seated in. Pretty much you want it nice and flush, and you can do it by hand, or you can kind of get like a base of your screwdriver, or you can get like the base of like the end of their drive, and then you can just kind of seat them in. Make sure you're hitting the outer part, and then for the inner part you can kind of use like a little 1/4 inch ratchet just to get in between there. Make sure you don't use nothing sharp, because you don't want to damage that. This is the area you really don't want to damage. But yeah, so there's that. And then for the seals, they're going to have indentations, and those indentations are going to go inside those grooves. And then this piece right here, obviously that one's going to be on the bottom. So make sure that doesn't go in like that, because obviously it won't seat in. But we'll seat in just like that. And that's how that would be seated in. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these right in, and then we'll go ahead and get ready to the install. All right, so we need to clean out our surface areas, and then pretty much you'll just kind of spray brake cleaner on the rack, and then you'll just clean this all up. We just want that area clean. We're gonna do that for this side and the other side. Now, if you're having a hard time of the gasket, if it keeps falling off, you can put silicone and let the silicone harden over time. Now that's if you're having a hard time. If not, then you should be fine. So basically I put zip ties on here so it could give me enough space, and I'm gonna just go down and then sneak it right out, but just also make sure that the valve cover gasket doesn't come out of place. So if this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and then hit that subscribe button for more upcoming videos in the future, and thanks for watching.